What's up, guys? This is a quickie, 5-minute blitz game played this morning. Opponents rated high 1300s, and in my uneducated view, plays far too lax and carefree with the pawns in front of his castle king. The pawns in front of your castle king are there for a very good reason. They are your king's bodyguard. Do not push them up the board unless you've got a damn good reason to. Not a jolly one, a damn good reason. Okay? Now, check this out. So, e4, e5, I've got the black pieces, and we have a Ponziani. Idea of the Ponziani is he wants to push d4, and if I capture, he recaptures back, and he's got a 2-on-1 in the pawn centre. Makes perfect sense. On the other hand, it doesn't allow this bishop to develop, and it also hampers this knight to some degree. So you're kind of banking on getting rid of this pawn, I guess. So I play the Ponziani counter gambit, which is the Freddy Krueger repertoire. We throw out f5 at every opportunity, and they take. So, of course, the knight is still here. We're not worried about the queen coming out. So the move to play is e4. With tempo, kick the knight. And this pawn is going to be proved to be deep offside, at least when this pawn comes out, and we're going to recapture with our bishop and go on and win. That's the idea. Knight comes in because the opponent just thinks, I can't bear it. Obviously, he can't go, he can't go here or here from there because queen takes, right? If he goes back, it just feels like, I just can't. So what he does is he puts his knight in the middle of the board, where it promptly gets eaten by another knight, and then his c-pawn recaptures, and we've got a DIQP, which sounds like an expensive beer. But no, it's a doubled isolated queen pawn scenario, right? So this is going to be really hard. This pawn and this pawn cannot defend any other pawn, because there's no pawns on the c-file or the e-file, and by the same token, they cannot be defended by any other pawn. All they're going to do is get in everybody's way. So, obviously d5. d5, I think, is obligatory here. We are reinforcing this pawn. We are, establishing control over the centre, and we're also preparing to recapture on f5. Knight now comes out, and now I snatch the pawn here. This pawn is defended by my queen. So now we've regained our lost pawn. And we are ahead in development in terms of we've got two central pawns, whereas white has this awful setup. Now, this isn't white's big mistake yet. White now plays, because obviously this bishop can't come out here, it's just going to meet c6 and be forced back again. So it's all going from bad to worse, really, for white. And this e4 pawn is preventing the bishop from going there. So he brings his little piddly move bishop out to e2. I develop my knight, castles, and bishop to d6. Now look at these bishops. Keep an eye on those bishops, because they're going to play a significant role in the forthcoming events. Now, inaccuracy. Inaccuracy number 1. Now, if your name is Mr. S. Fish, you can probably handle a situation like this with your immense ability to calculate and your complete and utter lack of emotion, right? However, if you're a human, what the... Right, seriously, is it that much of an issue, if we go back one, is it really that much of an issue for my knight to get in here, okay? I don't know. You can take it out, right? He's got a bishop and a queen looking at this square. What's the point of this? Anyway, so note, mark me, note, 3.3 seconds he took over that move. So from the time that I played this, 1, 2, 3, bang, out it comes, right? That is not a lot of time to think about moves. Anyway, so I castle. Inaccuracy number 2, please. Okay, these are the pawns in front of his king. Now this pawn, previously on punishing dumbass middle games, right, this pawn was defended twice. Okay, and now it's defended once, right? This pawn was defended twice. Well, it wasn't. This pawn was defended once by the king. Now it's only defended by a pawn, okay? So, now I move my queen across to e8. The idea is, very simple one, queen to g6, and bang, eliminate this pawn because that will be pinned when my queen is on that square. Okay. In for a penny, in for a pound, says white. King safety, ha! I laugh in the face of king safety. I'm going to abandon king safety and follow the principle of developing my kingside pawns as quickly as possible, and let's not worry about our queenside pieces. So I drop back now to e6, and he pushes again. So I drop back again to d7. Now, I believe it's at this point, right, bizarrely, I think this is my only blunder of the game. This is a blunder according to Stockfish, because if you are a Stockfish, you can find a winning kind of move here, or well, a sequence, which I don't really understand. But we'll come back to this. We'll come back to move 13, okay? So according to the fish, that's a blunder, just saving my bishop, right? He now pushes a3, because pawns are awesome. And now I push c6, which is, I don't think the computer liked this. You know, I just feel like I'm building up my stuff, right? But apparently it was time to go on the attack. Okay. Yeah, I can't remember what the move was at this point, but yeah, the fish went. No, that's just too. It might even be something silly like, you know, pushing my pawn all the way forward. I don't know. Anyway, so look, let's just carry on pushing pawns, right? This is a pawn addict in really deeply in the grip of his addiction. Okay, now queen e7. So, what's my idea with this one? I want to get my rooks lined up. Just trying to think what I'm thinking with this move. Anyway, I'm sure all will become clear. Okay, now he puts his knight over there. Okay, and I drop my bishop back to c7. Maybe this was the blunder. Anyway, I can't remember. So his knight now comes in thinking about attacking my bishop. Okay, he's still holding. He's a very cool customer, holding fire on developing the rest of his stuff. He's going to play most of the game with pawns and a knight. So okay, so now this is it, right? Yes. So what I'm wanting to do here is I want to reshuffle my queen and my bishop and come in and checkmate on my opponent. That's the one. Okay, bishop goes there, knight there, queen there. Yeah. Rook now comes up to f2 to prevent me coming in there with checkmate. Okay, and this is where it all goes tits up for white. Okay, so queen g3 comes with check. And I know that if he blocks with a rook, I have a free pawn. So he blocks with a rook, and I have a free pawn. Now his queen comes across to f1. Bishop out here breaks the rook's defense of this pawn. Now, it's still defended by the bishop, but I have knight and queen attacking. So he comes in and grabs a pawn. Whoa! Go white, let's go. Material is equal. Right, we are in an equal position. Well, no, we're not. Because I grabbed this pawn. Takey, takey. Queen attacks. Now, my queen's the only defender of this guy. So, there's not really much I can do. I mean, I could dodge here, I could dodge here, I could dodge here, and still defend that. But I figure, actually, I've also got a hanging pawn here that's attacked by my bishop and my rook. So I think I'm okay here. Takes. Rook must take. And now, what do we do now? Okay, I've got an offside knight. Forget about him. He's doing nothing. White isn't bothering to play with these other pieces now. He figures he can get the job done with a rook. And I've got two attackers on the f5 pawn. So I capture with my rook. My king, oh, hang on. Isn't this king meant to have pawns in front of him, defending him from rooks? Oh yeah, but we threw those up the board, didn't we? Because we're dummies. Okay. Oh look, here comes a bishop. Probably, actually, here comes a rook, is the idea. Well, let's see if this rook can save the day. Rook A to F8. King comes forward. Bishop drops all the way back to C7. But wait. Look at these bishops, right? Even from afar, they are exerting an evil influence over the game, right? This king cannot step on any of these squares. Okay, the bishop pair is wonderful. Okay, so I throw in a check here. I don't have to save my bishop immediately because I can throw in a check. And remember, the king can't go here, 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 or here, or here, or here, or here. So what's he going to do? Well, he's only got one square, h1. Now, I don't know if there's a quicker finish than this. Now I save my bishop, drop it back to c8, but it's still on the same diagonal, still being just as evil as ever. Rook challenges my rook. I slide over to h5 with check. King goes behind rook, and now bishop attacks rook. Rook moves. So what do we play here? We take the rook with our bishop. Remember that bishop? It's like sleight of hand, isn't it? We're all looking at this side of the board. There's a bishop over there, exerting an influence. Okay, king recaptures, and I realise I don't have to save the bishop because the king can't take. Right, so lift the other rook. And now along comes his other rook. Okay, and can you see, I think the next move, was one that I was really, really proud of. Okay, so pause if you need. What would you play as black here? And obviously it's going to involve a check. So, I mean, we've got this, which could force the king into the corner. Yeah, rook can't block because you just take. Okay, that's one idea. The move I found was bishop f1 with a discovered check by this rook. Okay, this rook's not able to block, and look at these guys, you know. So the only move is going to be this, right? King g3. And now, very simply, it's a ladder mate. There, king back, and checkmate. Don't even have to take the rook. This is all good. But yeah, I was very, very pleased with this move, I think, with a forcing finish there. So, let that be a lesson to you, right? If you're going to push the pawns in front of your king, let's just go back again. In fact, let's go also. I promised you we look at move 13, but... Or I could do a Naroditsky. Yeah, well, I'll go into that after the game. Yeah. Okay, now let's see, where does he start with his silliness? Okay, h3, completely unnecessary move. He's created a hook for me to attack later. This pawn is only defended now by the g-pawn, and the g-pawn's got an extremely important job to do. It's right smack in front of your king's face. So this wasn't necessary. I'm going to put on lines now and see if Stockfish comes up. This is Stockfish level 15. If anyone knows of a way, by the way, to drop Stockfish down to like 5, depth of 5, that would be great. Okay, the computer's suggestions are pawn to d3 and knight to b5, and pawn to a3. Notice they're all on the other side of the board. Notice they do not involve pushing the king's pawns. Okay, they're there. I castle. Now my opponent's best moves are d3, knight to b5, and king to h1, curiously. Okay, and also now f4 is actually a suggestion, but that leaves black already nearly minus 2.5. Okay, but that's significantly, that's over a pawn worse than the other best moves, these two. Okay, but he does this. This is actually the third move, but it's not accurate. Okay, now the computer says I should have captured here en passant. Okay, queen e8 is a second best, or but also c6. It likes c6 as well. I play queen e8, so it's happy about that. And let's see here. So now he's going to play g4. g4 again, the third best. Oh, queen e1 best, or knight b5. It really likes this knight b5 move. Attacking this, maybe. You see, no, it's not. Attacking the bishop. It realizes the importance of this bishop. So it's saying queen e1, knight b5, and the third move g4, right? But again, it's not ideal. He plays g4, I come back, knight b5, d3, and the third move f5. Okay, he plays the third move f5. So, I mean, according to Stockfish, he's not losing. He's not losing at this point. It's like -1. But at this point, I was already like back here, I was thinking, okay, there may be a video in this about why not to push the pawns in front of your king. And I couldn't believe it. It's like Christmas. He just kept going and going. Right? But he hasn't lost yet. Okay. So at this point, c5 is the best move. That's it. So I push c6. Computer wanted me to push c5 and maybe remove this pawn, which is at like 3 pawns better than any other option. It also likes g6 and queen e7. I pushed that. It didn't approve of that. So that's one of those quiet moves, and these are the ones that I know I need to work on. When I feel like I'm just now going to bide time, and I'm going to build my structure and then think about attacking later, and miss an immediate attacking opportunity. You know. Anyway, so now he pushes another pawn. Let's see if this is among the best. d3, g5, g5. Hell's teeth. Well, I guess my knight's actually got nowhere to go. That's an interesting one. If g5, right, the best move from black is queen e7. So I did not spot this. This did not occur to us, dude. Yeah, my knight's actually trapped if g5 is pushed, but black's still better. And king h1 again. So here, this is all interesting stuff. Oh, anyway, back to here. This point at which I retreat my bishop. Okay, now it's saying bishop d7 or bishop f7. Maybe this is not the move. I don't know. Anyway, at some point, this is it. This is it. Okay, so this is the move, right? It was move 16. I dropped my bishop back down to here because I've got an idea of reshuffling and going in with checkmate. Okay, which is kind of forcing, but again, at the same time, particularly if you're Stockfish, it's not a huge threat. But there was a better idea, and believe it or not, the computer's idea is this: knight to h5, right? At which point white should put his rook there, for reasons best known to the fish god. I mean, I don't know. But if he takes here, you don't go in with check. This is a blunder. You come in with this, right? And now it's mate in 12, mate in 17, or at best minus 54. We are basically talking about forced mates, whatever happens. So, you know, let's say they do that move now, right? And now you've got queen g3 check, king in the corner, checkmate. That's it, right? If you saw that, we're not worthy. That was brilliant. Will I ever see sequences like that? I don't know. Let's see. But if you take away nothing from this video, leave the stupid pawns in front of your king alone unless you've got a damn good reason to push them, or you'll end up toast like this guy. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.